Okay, let me make sure I'm online. Okay. Hello, I'm Alex from AP Ink. So today I'm going to be picking up where I left off last time. So for the month of October, I had created a list of prompts for Spooky Month. I called my list Beastober. So for the every day this month, I was attempting to draw a creature. I didn't really get there, but we're on the last day. I haven't been doing these in order just as I came up with ideas for them. So today I'm going to be doing the last prompt, painted pumpkin. So when I was looking up references for these, it seems pretty straightforward. Painted pumpkins in some kind of theme. Excuse me. Um, so like an all over painting with some kind of detail on it, or just like a shape painted on the pumpkin. I never thought about carving a pumpkin and then painting it, but that's another idea. So I'm going to give you these same references if you'd like to draw along. So I've got a piece of sketchbook paper, a 2B pencil, some more supplies off to the side. I'm going to jump right into this. So I think I'm going to do this one landscape instead of portrait. So for anybody watching, if you have been following my prompts and you don't mind sharing, could you share what you've drawn? Whether you followed exactly with the prompts that as I've done them, or you took your own direction on the prompt. I know if you're watching here on Twitch, you can't really share anything after the fact, but if you follow me on any of my socials or afterwards on YouTube, share there. Either like DM me or comment on my post for that day, or leave a comment somehow with a link to what you made. Okay, this is a 2B pencil. I think I said 2H. The fun thing about pumpkins, even if you don't get each of the segments 100% symmetrical, it's okay because nature in itself is not symmetrical. If I'm being honest, if I could go back and redo some of the drawings that I've done this month, I absolutely would. Because given the time restraints that I had on some of these drawings, I didn't really get to where I wanted to be. Okay, I gotta stop because I can just continue to tweak this forever. Okay, so for the painted part, don't know, this is a bit more simple than what I was originally thinking. I mean, I was thinking kind of cartoony. Okay, and then maybe this is a bit more abstract than most people would go with, but think I think to try to push the kind of spooky, even if it's cutesy. Let me sharpen this pencil really quick. Okay, I think for a little bit more detail on this, I looked up a reference for pumpkin vine, so I'm going to give you this reference too. So the leaf itself looks like it's a bit of a teardrop shape if you break it down to its simplest shape. So to put in like a teardrop or like a kind of heart shape, and then break the simplest shape down a bit more by adding detail. Okay, so this is about as abstract as you can be to try to recreate a leaf. I mean, truthfully, for the angle I'm going with versus the angle of the reference, it's not a very good reference. One of these days I might get better at picking references, but I'm not gonna hold my breath on it. I would like to get these to actually look like the reference, but at this point I'm just going with whatever shape it looks like. Okay. Is it perfect? No. Am I gonna go with it anyway? Yes. So I think for the finer details, I'm going to pull a 0.2 fine liner. Actually, really quick. If I should go with this kind of theme, see, I was thinking of maybe making like a shape around the illustration that I did. So it would almost be kind of like a bubble or whatever, or like a shape. And then in that shape is the design. But this could work too. It would probably help the creature stand out. We'll just do that. Okay, 0.2 fine liner for the finer details. Okay, and then for the rest of this, I'm going to switch to a 1.0 fine liner. Okay, I'll give that a minute to dry and then erase the pencil. I wish I had made the face a little bit bigger and kind of chibier, cuter. Okay, give me a second to clean up the eraser dust and then we'll get right into inking this. Okay, I think maybe apricot for the base color of the pumpkin. I want to see if I can use marigold to shade it with. So let me swatch this really quick. Apricot and then marigold. If I use marigold, it'll be really subtle. Maybe potato brown. I think that will work better. So, apricot for the base color. Hello. I think I should have made the wings a bit bigger. I saved the RB liner on this though, so I'm thinking I'm gonna do quite a bit of tweaking on this later. Yeah, the last one. Not gonna lie, I'm kind of looking forward to not having to absolutely need to stream every day. And yeah, I feel like when I wake up tomorrow morning, I'm gonna wonder what I'm supposed to do after a month of this. How are you doing on Sakura? I'm being a bit more sloppy here than I really wanted to be, so the details are a bit smaller than they probably should be too. Do people actually create art without a camera directly in their face? I don't know if it's possible. Okay, wait. So, potato brown to shade this. Now, when I started this, my intention was to try to keep up with the editing so that I could show you guys a kind of finished and polished scene, Halloween scene. I have unfortunately severely fallen behind on edits, so it will probably be a couple of days before I can show you all of the illustrations that I created this month compiled into a scene. It is a long forgotten skill. Okay. So for this guy, I'm gonna go kind of away from the norm of only choosing like dark tones because I'm thinking about this pastel blue. Kind of play up the kind of cutesy look. Okay, pastel blue. And then maybe this mauve shadow to shade it. Let me just make sure these will work together. So, pebble blue. Mauve shadow. It'll be subtle, but it might still work. The bleeding is so bad. I'm gonna have so much cleanup to do later. Okay, I think I'm gonna make this a single tone. Okay, mauve shadow. I think I'm gonna have to go over with this color a couple of times to build up the tone. Wait. Yeah, this one is dried out. So I don't know what happened to it. It like exploded in the pen. This is actually kind of gross. Okay. So I think for the hat, continuing with the kind of bright tone, instead of going dark, I'm gonna go light. Maybe sugarcane for the base color. And then maybe pale green to shade it. And then the details here. I think this anise color, try to give it kind of a glowing look. Okay, I want to see if I went over the sugarcane again. Are you drawing something? Or maybe playing a scary game? I shouldn't have done that. Okay. Anise again. Try to build up that color. Okay, and then I forgot to hit the inside of the mouth. There's a weird texture going on here. And I don't know if it's because it kind of exploded so it's dried out. If it's because of the texture of the paper. Okay. I think maybe fruit pink for his tongue. Maybe pastel violet for his eye. Cool. Like the wooden ones or those little plastic guys? Um, I saw somewhere on social media that they have like little plastic figurines that I think they're like skeleton, but it's along the lines of the wooden ones, but plastic. But it comes with a stand so you can like make them float, but you can put them in all kinds of poses, sitting, running. Okay, pastel violet. I'm going over with that anise color again. What I might do is go over these shapes with a white gel pen, try to block out the black outline, but also try to give them more of a glowing look. Okay, for the stem, I think yellow ochre. And then maybe we'll jump back to that potato brown and use it to shade here, the stem. And then maybe we'll go back to sugarcane and pale green for the leaves here. and then pale green for the outside. So there's a contrast between like the top or front of the leaf and the back. I mean, I could be like really careless here, or this is bleeding more than it should be. I think we'll go over with the sugarcane again. Try and create kind of shadow. Okay, white gel pen to add shiny to his eyes. Let's see. This is, I don't think that's gonna work. I think the tip is a bit bigger, but I've already started and I feel obligated to keep going. Okay, so I would not necessarily call this my best final product here, but I tried. I think I am gonna go back in, make the head and the wings bigger on the space here. Okay, I think maybe some detail lines on the stem might help. Maybe with the 0.2 fine liner. Okay. So my attempt at a painted pumpkin, but I, I kind of feel like I should have made some kind of painted shape for this to sit in, so I might play with that digitally. Okay. I don't know if I really have to do this, but might as well, I guess. So we'll go back to the list and mark off the last one. The list knows all. Okay. So I am going to leave this one here. Thanks, Asakura, for hanging out. Thank you to anybody else who's currently lurking. Thank you sincerely for anybody who followed me through this entire project. Um, Thank you if you've decided to follow me here on Twitch. Maybe turned on your notifications so that you're notified when I went live. Thank you to anybody who followed me on any of my socials or on YouTube. Uh, but yeah, I hope you all have a good Halloween if you do anything. But other than that, enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.